In this video, we'll be creating the basic foundation for our agent and its environment. Alrighty, so I went and I already created the base environment that we can see here. Nothing too fancy. I'll run through it right now. I made an empty game object called environment, or env. I created an empty world object, which we will be using to kind of just manipulate and keep track of things that are in the world throughout this project. Created the ground, which is just a plane. Really the first thing I made in here before even world was the plane, so that way I could build off it. Then I just gave it a material that I named ground. You can see here I have all the different materials. I have ground, I have the walls. There's going to be a zombie one, stuff for a gun and stuff for the agent, which we'll be looking here. I have the body color and the pupil, which we look right here. We do have the pupil and the body. So with that, with the walls that I made, if we look in here, it's an empty game object, and there's multiple walls all around. Each one is tagged with a wall tag, which I just created right here. I hit a plus, typed wall, and then I applied it. For the material, we look, I have it set to transparent, and then I wanted a red color for it. You go ahead and hide the material so we can see through the walls. Like we can see our agent over there. Just makes it so then if we ever want to have like an angle. This one, it's not as bad as the other one. The other one, it would block a bit, so that's why we wanted to have it with the pellet grabber series. With this one, we're going to be angled a bit higher up, so it's not too big of a deal, but I guess if there's something right there, we'll be able to see it. Whereas if it was solid, we wouldn't be able to see that. For the agent, to have a rigid body with the X, Y, and Z rotations frozen, so that way he doesn't tip over. If you don't freeze the Y one, when he runs into something, he may tip over, and then you'll have an agent that's rolling around the screen. So we'll want to, keep that frozen. For the body, it's just a capsule with material. Nothing fancy going on. I don't believe I changed anything in this. Same with the pupil and the eye. They're literally just a copy of each other. Nothing special going on besides the materials. And that's all that no, I have a couple other things set up. That's all I have set up in the scene for right now. The things that we'll be implementing or adding in will be, if we go, we don't need to look at materials. We can look at the prefabs. I have a gun prefab. It's just 3 cubes. They're just made to kind of resemble a gun, a very blocky gun. You don't even need a trigger. You could make this look however you want. I just made it look like this, and I happened to scale it properly to look like a decent size for our agent to hold. And then I have the zombie. And I went and I made all of these in advance instead of showing you guys, just because it's a little time consuming making them. It's not very long. Like, I didn't, do anything extravagant here. It's all cubes and a cylinder, I think, for the mouth. Yeah. Or it's a capsule. Oh, maybe cylinders are given a capsule collider. That actually is not good. I should just disable the colliders. I don't actually care about having colliders on this stuff. It's all cosmetic. Let me go ahead and just disable all of those. Does it disable in here too? It does not. Let's get rid of these. There we go. I don't care about them actually, if the teeth touch our agent or something. I don't care about, it making a difference. It's, like a millimeter. I don't know what the depth is. The depth scale. And this is just an empty game object to store all of the teeth in, which if we look, they're just cubes themselves. See, they're just poking through. They're not even triangles. Just half a cube, half a square is a triangle, so it's like a thick triangle. Well, let's go back, and the first thing we're going to want to do is work on the agent script. So I meant to delete these. We don't want to see those because we're going to be writing them ourselves. So we'll get rid of them. Wait for it to do everything. Okay, so then we're going to want to create C# script. We're going to call it AgentController. And we'll go ahead and pop into here. And I added in already the MLAgents package in Unity. So that's all already squared away. If you guys want to check out to see how I did all of that, setting up MLAgents in Python, setting it up with Unity, check out the previous series, the Pellet Grabber series. First episode, I walked through all of that, literally from downloading Python to getting it up and running to where we are now. I am using version, I believe it's 20. I think the current version is 21. I haven't tried that one yet. Things might be a little different in that version. I haven't tried it myself yet. So if you want to follow exactly along, I would recommend using version 20, which the Pellet Grabber series shows how to install that version. If you're using version 21, there might be some, bugs that are in it that aren't in this version, or maybe, just different ways of doing things I don't have here. I've seen some people ask, like, in the Pellet Grabber series, this doesn't work. Why isn't it working? And others will mention that it's an issue with the latest version or something changed. So your mileage will vary. But let's go into here. We're going to change this to agent, because it is going to be an agent class. We can get rid of our start and our update. And we'll want to include some extra libraries here. I'm going to be using, let me move my keyboard over, Unity.MLAgents. Let me just copy and paste this a couple times so I don't have to write the whole thing. MLAgents.actuators and MLAgents.sensors. And my Visual Studio is different than last time in the Pellet Grabber series. It actually gives recommendations for typing stuff, because I got a new SSD because my old one was failing and I needed to reinstall Windows on it. So this is stock. I haven't done any changes in here. So everything should be the exact same for you guys as I'm doing here, unless of course you changed anything. We're going to do a serialized field. It's going to be a float, and it's going to be move speed. And we're just going to set it to 2F by default. We have serialized, so that way it's still private, but we can change it in the editor. So if we want to test something and he's moving really slow and we're trying to move him all the way across the screen, we can bump it up easily in runtime and make him go faster. Then we're going to give rigid body the alias RB. Doesn't really do much, but it's pretty common standard to do that, so that's why I'm just doing it. Then we're going to have another serialized field. And we're going to pass in a WorldBehaviors. And we're going to name it WorldBehaviors. It doesn't know what this is yet because we haven't actually written this yet. But this will be the next thing that we write. In fact, let's pop over right now just to make it happy. Let it load. Create. Yeah, there wasn't really anything to load. And we're going to name this WorldBehaviors. And that's all we're going to do. It didn't open the script. There we go. We have WorldBehaviors now. It doesn't do anything, but we will add the script onto world. And then under agent, we'll go to here. We'll add the script and we'll throw world onto here. There we go. We got world now. And so then if I open this, it should be happy now. Yep, it's saying that this, we know what this is. It's no longer an error. And those are all the parameters, or the variables that we're going to be passing in, or creating, I should say, not passing in. I guess we are passing this in. But the variables that we're going to be creating for this episode, we'll be adding more in next time. But for right now, this is all that we need. We're just focusing on the agent. So let's throw in a public override. Void initialize. And in here, we're just going to get the rigid body. So RB equals get component rigid body. That's all we want to do here. And now we're going to get into the actual MLAgents section of it. Public override. And we're actually going to be doing this a lot, so I'm gonna copy this so I can just paste it. But OnEpisodeBegin, and I'm tabbing to fill it all in, which is nice for when the names get really long, but it is annoying that it throws in the base thing. We don't need them. Right here, we're just gonna do a filler. So it's just gonna be spawn agent. We don't have anything written for this yet, so we're just gonna leave it as spawn agent and move on to the next. In fact, we should, just in case it gets called, throw in, okay, never mind, that is not a command in C#. I use it in Python all the time, just for when I'm filling things in, because otherwise it's like, oh, this if statement doesn't, do anything or something like that, and I'm just like, pass. I'm not filling that in yet. But now we're going to go over to collect observations. We can remove this, and we're going to have sensor.addObservation transform.local position, because we want it to know where it is within its, within space. Like, odds are you know where you are in space. Like, let's say that space is, I don't know, your room. You know where you are in your room. Even if you have your eyes closed, you still know where you are in it because you know the room itself. This is like, it's going to know its coordinate positions within the world, or really within the environment that we have here, because we're going to have copies of this, and that's why we're using local position instead of regular position. Regular would be within the entire world. So let's say I copy and paste this. I move it over. This is 0. This is 0, 0 right here. This guy, his local position is 0, 0. But his normal position, his global, isn't 0, 0. He's way over here. He's not over there. And so that's why we're using local, because we're going to have copies in order to make the training faster. Otherwise, it takes a very long time to train. It's like if you've watched Naruto, kind of spoilers, I guess, but he uses his shadow clones to duplicate himself to learn things really quick. It quite literally is the exact same thing as this. You're making duplicates and they share their experience with each other. Hop back into here. That's all we need for collecting the observations. We don't need any other observations. So we'll pop down here, another public override, but this one's going to be on action received, action buffers, action. Delete this. We're going to have two floats. We're going to have a float move rotate, and it's going to be actions dot continuous actions, and it will be the 0th index. And then can I do a control D? I can. And we're going to call this one move forward, and it will be the 1st index. And now that we're taking these actions, let's go ahead and actually apply them. So rb.movePosition. And we want transform.position. And then we're going to add the transform.forward direction because we want to be moving forward. And we're going to move at that, whichever direction it's saying here. Basically, we can have a -1 or a 1. And so if it's a -1, move backwards. +1, we move forward. Same as, it's going to be the W and S keys. And then we're going to multiply it by the move speed because we want to control our speed. Multiply it by move speed, and then multiply by time.delta time. We don't want to be locked to frame rate. I appear to be missing something. What's it mad about? Provides interface plus cannot be operated. Let me see, what am I missing? rb.movePosition, transform.position plus transform.forward. Oops. Times move forward, times move speed, times delta time. All right. So then let's go and get our rotation. The transform.rotate 0f, because we don't want to move on the x-axis. We do want to move on the y. We're going to be rotating about the y-axis, like as if you're spinning on a pole. It's kind of like the Earth, on its axis, the vertical axis. And move speed will just move at the same speed. and 0F on Z, and it's going to rotate about itself in its own space. And that's it for our onActionReceive until we add things in the future. Then let's pop over and actually be able to control our agent. So heuristic, and yep, just actions out, just double checking to make sure it puts in what I'm expecting it to. Action segment, it's going to be a float, and we're going to call it continuous actions. It's going to equal action out dot continuous actions, and the no, actually not the 0th index, just continuous actions. Now down here is where we're going to have the continuous actions 0th index. Is going to equal input dot get access raw and horizontal. So this will take the A and D keys for rotating. Because if we look up here, we have move rotate in the 0th index. And actually, let me just control D here to duplicate, so I don't have to write it all out. 1 and vertical. So now this will be for W and S, moving forward and backwards. Technically, I guess in a 3-dimensional space, it's not really vertical, but it's vertical in a 2-dimensional plane. And now the very last thing that we're going to be adding here, it's going to be a private void on collision. Enter. Collision, we're going to name it other. It doesn't really matter. You can keep it collision. You can name it whatever you want. I like other, so I go with other. Other dot game object dot tag if it equals wall. That means if we collide with something that has a collision with the tag wall, in this case the walls, do this. So add reward. We're going to do -15F. We're just going to apply a -15 reward. I haven't really balanced out the rewards yet with this, so we'll kind of just play it by ear. See, it's like, oh, it's, thinking it's better to run into the wall than to get any other kind of punishment. We'll do some balancing. But now let's say it doesn't run into the wall and it runs into something else. So else if other.gameObject.tag equals, we're going to say zombie. He runs into a zombie. What do we do? We're just going to do the exact same thing right now. Make it an equal punishment. So he doesn't want to run into a wall, doesn't want to run into a zombie. They're both equally bad. The wall is going to obliterate you. The zombie's going to, rip you apart and eat you. And that's it. That's it for the agent. Let's pop into here, just see, is there anything else it wants us to add? No. Doesn't have anything that it wants us to add. So that's good. The agent should be good. In fact, it's my world. Let's see if we can move right now. Because the agent's there, we don't have a spawn for him. So if he gets destroyed, then he's kind of just done for. But let's see. Is it having an issue? Is there an error? No, but it's not taking input. I might be missing something. We'll keep moving right now and then see. Because I haven't actually just tested it in this point. I just figured I would test to see if it would work. So we'll see, let's move on a little bit. For our behavior parameters, actually, that might be an issue. Let me see, behavior. Oh yeah, we need to add, that's probably what the issue is. We need to add a decision requester. Doesn't automatically put one there. A little annoying, but nonetheless, we add it in. Our space size, we want to make 3. And then we'll eventually up this once we're doing, once we have more things going on. But for right now, it's going to be 3. Continuous actions will be 2. And the discrete branch, we're going to have as 0 for right now. Oops, discrete branch is 0. We don't have anything going on with discrete yet. We will next time. For right now, we don't. So let's save. And let's just see if that fixes it real quick before we move on any further. Will this allow us to move? Yep, there we go. We're moving. Let me zoom in. And there we go. We can move. Very slow. We can always make it faster. Let's see if I close our rigid body and the behavior. Let's say I make this 10. And zoom out. Look at how much faster that is. And he whips around. You might want to have a different rotation speed if you want to make him fast. Unless you want him to, be able to just do a 180 that quick. Okay, cool. It works. Now we have the rigid body. We have the script written. Let's go ahead and actually add on in our prefab the gun. Just drag it on there. And let's make sure let's position it nicely. Yeah, it's, oh, is it that? Huh, I thought it was a little bit bigger, but that's okay. Doesn't need to be big. Let's move it right here. So now he's holding a gun. He's armed. He's armed and dangerous. And then, we'll pop in here real quick to show that when you're moving, it's parented to the agent, so it should move with him. In fact, let me zoom in. See, there we go. Moves in, we can go backwards, we can go forward, we can rotate. Cool. Let's go into our world object, or world behaviors, and add a couple little scripts here. Actually, before we do that, let's make a zombie script. We have the prefab for the zombie here, so let's just add a script. Not going to do anything in the script this time, but we're going to add it in anyways. So a zombie controller. Don't know why it opens this and doesn't actually open it. Might be a quirk with Unity itself. We can go ahead and delete all these. We don't actually need any of that. We can just leave it as empty. Save. And now pop over into world behaviors. And the reason why we added this is because we want to have a few serialized fields. Serialized field. And it's going to be AgentController. And we're going to name it Agent_Controller. And let's duplicate with Control D. We're going to do this a couple times. Basically, I just don't want to rewrite the serialized thing, but it'll also work out for this one. So ZombieController, and name it ZombieController. And then here, this one is going to be quite different. Let's just delete all of this. I probably should have just duplicated the zombie one. But oh well, live and learn, list, ZombieController. Close that off, and we're going to name it Spawned Zombie List. If you watch the Pellet Grabber series, this is pretty much going to be the exact same method, or very similar at the very least, with what we did for the pellets in order to keep track of them. For right now, we're just going to have one. We're not going to really need to keep track of anything, but we're going to have just a bare bones system here. So equals new list ZombieController. And the very last serialized field, thank you, Unity, or Visual Studio, for telling me that I want to do that so I didn't have to start typing it. Transform environment _ location. And this will just be for the environment that we're in, which will be useful for when we're spawning the zombies. Now we'll go down a little bit. And we're not going to do another serialized field. Sorry, I know you got excited recommending it. We're going to spawn agent. Now our agent is already in the middle. We could make him a prefab and pull him out of the the scene to start with, but I don't think it really matters because it's not like he's ever not in the scene. If he's not in the scene, then it's game over. Then we're gonna, for now, always have him in the same spot. So we don't really need to take him out and make him a prefab. I know that I went over that for no real reason because it doesn't really change anything. And if you guys want to, you can have him like that. I don't know, I just felt like explaining it. But we're going to have him at the local position. And it's going to just be new vector3 0f 1.02F. I do that so that way he's not halfway through the floor, because otherwise at 0, the lower half of his capsule is underground. And 0F, and because of the rigid body, he'll fall down onto the ground just fine. So there we go. That's all we need for the spawn agent. And then let's do public void spawn zombie. And we're not going to pass anything into here. If spawn zombie list dot count, I autofilled a little too much there. It does not equal 0. Just in case we somehow end up with a negative number. That's why I put does not equal 0 instead of, is greater than 0. Just to cover my bases. Even though I guess this wouldn't really work if it was negative, but I don't know. It's just what I'm doing. I figured if I ever come across the case of where it ends up being negative, it'll probably break, and I will adjust things from there. But remove zombie. It doesn't know what remove zombie is. So let's go ahead and create that right. Private void remove zombie. And we're going to pass in our list. We can call it, I'm not going to call it zombie list. I'm going to call it a very long name, same kind of name that I used in Pellet Grabber. To be deleted game object list. It makes it very clear what this is, what is being passed in. And so we're going to have a for each. Oops, and I need to make this one word. For each in my zombie controller, in I, in to be deleted. And this is where the autofill is really nice, because then I don't have to write that every time. Granted that I'm only going to be writing it twice, but still, it's nice. Destroy the game object that is in the list. And then we want to just clear the list. I don't really know why I did this anyways before, because we're deleting it, but or at least, no, never mind, we're deleting the object, we're not clearing the list. So yeah, clearing the list afterwards once we've gone through, just make sure the list itself is empty. That's likely why. I haven't gone through and tested, I just figured it worked before. I'll keep it like this. But now let's go back into our spawn zombie, because we haven't actually spawned a zombie yet. All we've done is, if there is one, when we're spawning them, we should remove them. Now we're going to spawn the zombie here. The ZombieController. Oh, oops, I didn't realize I changed the name. Yeah. ZombieController new underscore zombie equals instantiate. And it's going to be ZombieController. That creates zombie. The instantiate. Or at least we're saying this, runs this command. New zombie. And then new zombie dot transform dot parent equals the environment location. We want its parent to be the environment. So that's why we have the environment location. That way it's not global, it's set to this one area in the event that we do anything to the area. And then we're going to give him a random location. Right now, we're not going to do what we did in Pellet Grabber, where we're checking where the player was and keeping them from spawning on each other. Right now, we don't really care. That'll be something that we can add in later for some additional polish. But zombie location, and we're going to equal it to new vector3 random dot range -30 30. Oops, I'm throwing the F. -30 30. 1F, so that way they're not in the ground. And random dot range -30F to 30F. And we're gonna, once we finish this up, we're gonna double check to make sure these values are good. Oh yeah, and ZombieController, why is it mad about this? Type name ZombieController cannot be found. It's right there. I don't know what it's mad about, but okay, we'll see. Maybe I just need to pass in what the ZombieController is Or maybe I named the, oh, you know what? This is probably why. Let me see. Yeah, that's why it's not type. I don't know why I did that. I think the autofill, I was like, oh no, it's telling me to do this. That's correct. Yeah, we want it to be of type ZombieController, not, this isn't a type. This is an actual object. And so now that we have the new location, new zombie dot transform dot local position is equal to zombie location. And then we're going to add it to the list. Spawn zombie list dot add new zombie. So that's good. There we go. Let's double check these locations. Let it load everything in and, you know, hopefully be happy. No errors. That's good. Agent. So we have the X right here. 30 should be good. We have, you know, tons of room. It actually goes to like 38 or so, 37. So that'll be safe. You know, give a little bit of leeway space, 37, and it's a cube, so it should be, you know, fine. Yep, everything's good. Cool. And this guy, he is not back at 0, 0 yet. There we go. Save. Everything's good there. We should check out our zombie. Does the zombie have, he does not have the script yet. Let's go over to scripts, add in the ZombieController script. Not that it does anything, besides, you know, just letting everything know where it is. In here, go to prefab. We're going to add our zombie. We're going to add the agent. And we're going to add the environment. So let me see here, nothing here. We've got everything there. Ground, it's just the ground. Walls, it's the walls. Everything is, in fact, tagged. Agent, we don't have a tag on the agent. I don't really have one here, so that's fine. Body, actually no, I should make sure with the agent, we have the behaviors, decision requester, and the script. Cool. Body, it's just a body. And the gun, we don't have anything here right now. So that's fine. Pop over to zombie. We should add a tag, because we had a tag. In fact, let's see what we named it. I think we just named it zombie. AgentController, yep, zombie. And we'll add some more to the AgentController in a moment. So let's add a tag. Zombie. And pop back over to prefab, the zombie itself. We'll add zombie. Awesome, there we go. So the zombie's all taken care of. Now we're going to pop back into the AgentController. And actually, do we need, yeah, we can add in the spawns. That's what we needed to do here. So WorldBehaviors dot spawn agent. And I know the WorldBehaviors, we have to, you know, take care of all the world stuff, but for right now, we're gonna have it in here because I feel like, you know, it has the OnEpisodeBegin. I guess we could call WorldBehaviors itself and then pass it through, but I think it's fine like this. Zombie isn't an agent right now. When it is, we'll probably just, you know, call the spawn zombie on the agent itself. So let's go in here and see if everything runs. And see if a zombie appears. There we go. And a zombie did appear. So let me hang out right here. And let's go over to him. Let's go say hi. In fact, let's see if when we touch him, we die. Let me do this. There we go. And no. Nothing happened. So let's find out. Actually, wait. Maybe it's because of the gun. Let's go backwards. No, nothing is happening. So we'll need to look into that. I'll probably pause to just double check with that. But let me see. Agent, the body. We have, yeah, we have a capsule collider. For the zombie, do we have? We do not. Actually, wait. Yeah, we have the box collider right here. Oh, but the body isn't. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe the body needs to be tagged. Let's do that. That might have been my mistake. The body itself probably needs to be tagged. Let's see real quick. In fact, let's go ahead and the agent, it can go a little bit faster, not too much faster. We don't want to be out of control and have it be hard to aim. Let's go over here and just bump him. Yep, look at that. We died, new zombie spawned in, and he's in a different area. We'll go over here again and bump him. Actually, let's bump him with our back. Bam. There we go, and we're racking up negative credits. Now we're going to watch the dude come over here, and he's going to touch the wall. It should get sent back, and the zombie, there shouldn't be multiple zombies, there should only be one. There we go. Everything is working nicely. Great. Let's go and create a gun script. Create script GunController. And did it open it? No, it did not open it this time. GunController, there's not going to really be anything going on in it. In fact, I don't think we're going to even use it this time, but we're going to pass a public bool called shootgun in preparation for what we'll be doing next time. Public bool shootgun, and we're just going to return false. That's it. And we'll append this onto here. Didn't even need to do that this time, but I felt like we should. Just, you know, very start of it. What we'll be doing next time is adding in the gun script, so then we can go around, we can shoot the agent itself. When it's running, we'll be able to shoot, and we'll have a little like laser beam that comes out. Nothing special. I wanted to keep everything within Unity. I'm not using any external assets. Everything just within Unity itself, other than, you know, ML agents. But we'll have it to where we can shoot the zombie, and when the zombie gets hit, it'll die. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one. See ya.